All right, here's a hot button topic. You guys have heard the story of how Lia Thomas dominated everybody in the NCAA swim competition when she, as a transgender woman, all right, born a man, decided that she was going to compete against women who were born female. Okay, so this has sparked up a big debate about whether it's appropriate, whether it's fair for her to be competing this way, and whether it gives her an edge. And you know, this opened up the debate about the larger concept of transgenders generally competing with or against women. Okay, so they've been talking about this. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm not here to get into the rights and the wrongs of it. I've already given my opinion on it. I did a video talking about the transgender woman formerly known as Bruce Jenner, who is now Caitlyn Jenner. She doesn't agree with it either. So you see, this doesn't just go down lines, all right? This is obviously, you know, opinions here. So I have another opinion that I want to talk about from NBCnews.com. Now, here's the thing, right? This is a pet peeve of mine that I've had for a long time. And that is when people take the LGBTQ plus community and they equate it with the concerns of the black community. You see that a lot. As a matter of fact, Black Lives Matter is the best example of that. Black Lives Matter was founded by some lesbians who decided they were going to use the so-called black struggle, in this case, police brutality and things like that. They were going to use it to further their own agenda. I went on the website and I even saw where it said that we are against the patriarchy, we're against the nuclear family. They've since took that off, but it was there, okay? So very early on, they told you what they were all about. They are merely using the black condition to further their own agenda. And you see social justice warriors, you see the media, they do the same thing, okay? This has been a pet peeve of mine for a long time, okay? So you guys get in the comment section, tell me if you feel this way too, especially black people out there, right? But I want to talk about this article here in NBCnews.com and how they are attempting to sell the idea that Lia Thomas should be celebrated the same way that Jackie Robinson has been celebrated. Come on, man. Here we go. I shouldn't have to talk about this, but I am. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. Let's just jump right into this. The headline says, Lia Thomas, NCAA championship performance gives women's sports a crucial opportunity. Now, they say, anyone who cares about the advancement of sports and women's sports in particular should celebrate her win. Okay, women's sports in particular. That's a strange way you have of twisting up this issue. Women's sports should actually be primarily focused on women who are born female, if you ask me. All right, that doesn't mean that transgender people can't compete. But all things being considered, they should be on the most level playing field as possible, okay? Unless you want to have the argument that men and women are actually just physically equal. You know, we know that that's not the case. It's not sexist to say that. It's just true. But, I mean, keeping in mind, right, being a man who is not conditioned to run, there are millions of women who could beat me in any competition like that, okay? But all things being considered, you know, training, conditioning, things like that, it's not a level playing field. It's just not in that case. All right. So let's see what it goes on to say here, guys. It says, those who oppose the inclusion of trans women in women's sports argue that trans women have an unfair competitive advantage and that as a result, they will take away opportunities from cisgender athletes. According to the NCAA, these assumptions are just not well founded. Moreover, there is a lack of scientific evidence that conclusively demonstrates a direct link between testosterone and athletic performance. Oh, they're falling back on the science. Follow the science! She blinded me with science. Boop, boop, boop. It seems to me these days more people believe in science than they do God. You know, they used to say God is on my side. Now they say science is on my side. And if you go against the science, you are an infidel. And it says, it goes forward. Athletic performance is influenced by a number of factors, including hormones, but also other things like coaching and training, psychological makeup of an athlete, access to resources and equipment, among others. Attempts to ban or limit the participation of trans athletes are not based on science. Nobody's banning them. The question is it fair to the women in women's sports? Okay, now you have a lot of women who are playing women's sports who are actually voicing their opposition to this, and they're afraid because disciplinary action will be taken against them. They'll be the one that's banned just for speaking. You know, we just had one who just got banned off of Twitter because she dared to say, I feel like I lost my place because I have to compete against a transgender. Now all of a sudden she's silenced, she's gone. I don't know what's going on with that. But anyway, instead, they're not based on science, but instead they're rooted in societal and cultural differences of what constitutes gender or what defines a woman. I don't know about that. Okay, so it says such questions matter because sports are organized based on the belief of natural differences between men and women, and they are sex segregated as a result. Yet, this ultimately leads to the discrimination of athletes like Thomas. So they're saying that because of the belief, not the fact, but the belief in the natural differences of men and women, it can lead to sex segregation. I don't know why these people are so determined to convince us not to believe our eyes, not to believe our genitalia, but believe them that men and women are the same. They want us to believe that there's no difference, they say. Okay, even though we all know there's a difference. In nature, there's a difference. The animal kingdom, they know there's a difference. The insect kingdom knows there's a difference. But for some reason, these people want human beings to believe that somehow men and women are on an equal playing field in all areas. Okay, it's just not true. People shouldn't be scared to say it. It's not true. It goes on to say, and here's where it gets really janky, guys. It says right here, the Supreme Court unanimously decided in Brown versus the Board of Education that separate is not equal, and segregation violated the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment. Despite this, sports have been able to operate under a separate but equal framework. We're talking about men and women. We're not talking about race. All right, we're talking about men and women competing, okay? This is stupid, and they think we're stupid to be believing this crap. That should be the most insulting thing about it. And I've said it a million times. These days that we live in, these days and times, it depends on people being as dumbass as possible for them to push through their agendas. Don't say gay. Don't say gay. What did Mark Hamill say? Gay, 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 gay. That's not at all what it's about, man. But anyway. The presumed physical inferiority of girls and women historically has justified, legitimized, and excused the unequal treatment of female athletes. The presumed physical inferiority? Is anybody presuming inferiority, or are we just acknowledging the very real differences between the sexes? Okay? The most recent example was the U.S. Soccer Federation's legal arguments regarding the unequal pay between the men's and women's teams. The Federation claimed there were differences in speed and strength of the men's and women's teams, which partly explained any disparities in pay. The backlash was swift, leading to the then president of the Federation, Carlos Cordeiro, issuing a public apology. Now look, guys, when it comes to that pay difference there, I would guess, okay, I don't know for sure, but I would guess that men's competitive sports in most cases bring in more spectators than women's competitive sports, okay? I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but wherever you have the larger pot, I believe there's going to be more money exchanged. I think it's just as simple as that. I could be wrong. Like I said, you guys get in the comment section. You're more than welcome to school me. Change in sports doesn't happen overnight, nor is it linear. Major professional sports leagues like the MLB and the NFL resisted racially integrating their player rosters. It was not until 1962 that the last NFL team, the Washington Commanders, would racially integrate. Moreover, athletes of color played in the NFL in the early days of the league only to be excluded as the league developed. Today, athletes like Jackie Robinson are celebrated as breaking the color barrier in sports, although the narrative often requires sanitizing, simplifying, or rewriting a more complex, nuanced, and contradictory history. There remains a cultural investment in celebrating sports firsts, whether that be Robinson as the first black MLB player, the first openly gay active player in the NBA, the first non-binary U.S. athlete to participate in the Winter Olympics, or the first woman to score in a Power 5 college football game. Many of the athletes who become the first encounter resistance, backlash, and opposition, especially from those who have historically benefited from the status quo in sports, once again twisting up the reality of the situation. The bottom line is it fair to the women? You guys claim to care so much about women, okay? What about giving a fair shot to women who are in their league and they've been training for their entire lives, all right? Only to have somebody who now, at this stage in their lives, has decided that now they're going to identify as women, okay? They may or may not be taking something to suppress the hormones and the testosterone and all that stuff, but the point is that women who were born women deserve to have their shot at competitive sports. Okay, without men who are identifying as women coming in and dominating it. Okay, so these people want to see women fighting men in the boxing ring. All right, with the upper body strength and all that stuff, right? But you care about women so much, right? You want to see men and women who are wrestling regardless, right? That's good for you, right? Little girls, what are you teaching them? This is some BS. All right, and I'm not afraid to call it out. People shouldn't be. Speak up. This is nonsense. You can compete if you want to. Compete in your own league. Okay, this is not about black and white. It's none of that stuff. It's completely different. And I'm not going to waste time trying to explain it to you. Okay, I'm not going to even validate that with an explanation with what those people did back then when it came to integrating based upon race. It is not the same. Not at all. So stop using it. All right. Part of what makes the first story so compelling is the resilience, determination, and love for the sport exhibited by these athletes and their motivation to break down barriers. Despite the naysayers, Thomas, as the first transgender athlete to win a Division I NCAA championship, deserves to be placed among other firsts. She should be embraced in the history of progress that sports represent and recognized as the trailblazer that she is. Okay, fine. You want to do that. Do it, but not at the expense of these women who have worked tirelessly for their entire sports career to get to this level. It is not right. Okay, so you can try to paint it all you want. You can try to appropriate. Yes, I said appropriate black history and black struggle if you want to, but it's a lie. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that it's a lie. And I'm sick and freaking tired of people doing this type of thing. That struggle is not your struggle. All right. Your struggle is a struggle. It's a struggle for acceptance. It's a struggle for inclusion. The struggle on the black side of things has always been a struggle for humanity, a struggle for the right to actually live, to exist. Okay? That's what that was. If you don't tell anyone who you are, chances are no one's going to know, okay? Black people walking down the block get identified. No one's going to say when they see me walking down the block, I think he might be Negro. Not sure. Let's wait and see what he does. No, they're going to know right off top, okay? So what you're saying is false. And I'm here on this little channel to tell the truth because that's what I do, okay? Everyone has the right to dignity. Everyone has the right to pursue their dreams, but you don't get to completely disregard what's at the heart of this matter, which is it fair to women who were born women who want to compete against women to inject men who have identified as women, right? They might have had surgery, whatever the case may be. Is it fair, though, to bring them in without having any real system of telling whether or not these people actually have an unfair advantage over these women who were born women. That's the question. No amount of deflection is going to get us away from that, okay? No amount of trying to falsely equate what they're going through over there with what they're going through over here is going to take away from what's at the heart of this issue. Okay, so guys, that's all I have to say about it. You guys can get in the comment section. It is your turn to tell me, do you believe that Lia Thomas should be held on the same level as Jackie Robinson and some of the other greats who have come through, and broken those records and broken those molds and, just advanced their particular area of sports and competition? Do you believe that that's what we're dealing with here, or is it another issue? I think it's a different issue, okay? This is not to hate on Lia Thomas, okay? But we're not going to get away from this. We're not going to get away from what the real deal is here, no matter how much they try to deflect. But that's just my opinion. So you guys can get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about this. As always, you can like, you can share, you can subscribe. Catch me on Twitter, Rumble, Odyssey. I'm out there, guys. Thank you once again. I'll catch you on the next one. This is The Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.